right now, the absolute most advanced conversations on Earth, they aren't happening in corporate boardrooms.
No, definitely not.
And they certainly aren't happening on social media. They are actually happening in the dirt.
Which sounds crazy, but it's true.
It really is.
Mm.
Plants are constantly talking. I mean, they're broadcasting, they're negotiating, they're basically screaming about stress and disease and the climate.
Yeah, a constant stream of information.
The problem is just that we have been completely deaf to it, like totally oblivious until now.
Right, and it fundamentally changes our entire relationship with the environment when you realize that silence we've always associated with nature, it's actually just a frequency we haven't been equipped to hear.
Which is exactly what we are unpacking in today's deep dive. So welcome. Today, we have a mission for you.
A big one.
Yeah. We are going to explore how the ultra-fast, data-driven world of artificial intelligence is suddenly acting as this universal translator for the ancient organic lives of plants.
It's a massive paradigm shift.
It really is. And by the time we are done here, you are going to walk away with a completely new framework for how you view the natural world around you.
And to do this, we are drawing from a really highly insightful post from June 29th, 2026. It's from the Pantheon Perspective.
Great publication.
Oh, absolutely. The author is Jessica Jones, and she titled it, AI and the Language of Plants. Can technology help us understand nature better? And she goes just straight for the tension between those two worlds.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because on the surface, right, AI and a forest seem like the ultimate odd couple.
They really do.
Complete opposites.
Right. You have these massive server farms, sterile blinking LEDs moving at the literal speed of light, and you are smashing them together with like old growth trees whose timelines are measured in centuries.
Right.
Honestly, it sounds like throwing a supercomputer into a compost bin. I mean, how do two totally opposed systems merge without the digital side just completely overriding the organic nature of the plants? Yeah, and that tension is actually the core hurdle Jones addresses right up front, because the instinct, the human instinct, is to assume that introducing AI to nature means we are trying to digitize nature.
Right, like trying to turn a maple tree into a hard drive or something.
Exactly. But the objective here is observation, not assimilation. AI doesn't alter the plant at all. It just processes the plant's reactions to its environment at a scale that humans are just completely incapable of managing.
So I guess we first need to redefine what we even mean by language.
Yeah.
Right, because we aren't talking about words or syntax here.
No, not at all.
When a plant communicates, it's broadcasting chemical and physical signals.
Yes, and we need to look at how the technology actually captures those specific signals. I mean, we all know plants react to sunlight and soil composition and water levels.
Sure, basic biology.
Right. But the human eye is a terribly limited instrument. We only register a plant's stress when it reaches a totally catastrophic level.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a drooping leaf, or a massive loss of color, or stunted growth.
Yeah, I mean, by the time I notice my houseplant is turning brown, it's usually already planning its own funeral.
Exactly. It's way too late.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where the AI steps in, because it isn't just looking at the plant the way you or I do. It is reading a continuous stream of multimodal data.
Multimodal meaning?
Meaning it's pulling from a bunch of different sources all at once. The source highlights that these AI systems rely on sensor fusion. So they pull from high-resolution images, chemical sniffers in the air, moisture probes down in the soil, and even acoustic sensors.
Wait, acoustic? Like they can hear the plant?
Yeah, they can actually detect microscopic acoustic emissions when the plant's vascular system is under stress.
That is wild. Okay, let's get into the how of that, because that is the fascinating part to me. How does just a camera know a plant is thirsty before the leaf actually wilts?
Well, it comes down to wavelengths of light that we just simply cannot see.
Okay.
Human looks at a leaf and, sees green. But a multispectral camera feeds data into a machine learning model that analyzes near-infrared light.
Near-infrared?
Right. Healthy plants reflect a massive amount of near-infrared light. It's just a byproduct of healthy cellular function. But the exact moment a plant experiences drought stress, its cellular structure changes slightly.
Even before it changes color?
Way before. And when that structure changes, that near-infrared reflection drops. So the AI detects that microscopic drop in infrared reflection days, or sometimes even weeks, before the visible green chlorophyll starts to break down.
Wow. So it's less like having a basic baby monitor for your houseplant and more like having, I don't know, an FBI profiler.
That's a good way to put it.
Because a basic monitor just waits for the baby to cry, right?
Yeah.
Or the leaf to fall off. But this AI system isn't waiting for a crisis. It's noticing that, like, the soil temperature dropped 2 degrees, the humidity shifted, some specific pest was detected a mile away.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's connecting all those invisible dots to predict the crisis before it even happens.
What's fascinating here is that the machine learning models have been trained on literally millions of baseline images and environmental data points.
Million.
Millions. They know exactly what a healthy baseline looks like for that specific species, in that specific soil type, in that specific climate.
So it's incredibly customized.
Highly customized. So any deviation at all, no matter how microscopic, triggers an alert. It completely takes the guesswork out of cultivation. For generations, gardeners and farmers just had to rely entirely on intuition.
And a lot of trial and error.
Tons of error. But AI doesn't replace that experience. It just shifts us from being reactive to being proactive. It's a translator for signals that nature has literally been broadcasting this whole time.
Okay, but, and this is a big but,
Yeah.
if this AI profiler is so incredibly effective at micromanaging one single houseplant, what happens when you point that exact same system at 10,000 acres of commercial farmland?
Scaling up.
Right, because doesn't the algorithm just completely drown in the noise of millions of individual plants?
You would think so, yeah. But the source explains that this is where edge computing and continuous tracking absolutely revolutionize agriculture at scale.
Okay, how so?
Well, we are finally moving away from treating a massive farm as one single uniform organism. Traditionally, if you manage a huge commercial field, you have to operate on averages.
Right, you water the whole field, you spray fertilizer on the whole field.
Exactly.
Because no farmer has the time to walk around and physically inspect every single stalk of corn. You just play the law of averages just to survive.
Right. But AI introduces true precision agriculture. By deploying autonomous drones equipped with those multispectral cameras we just talked about.
The ones reading the near-infrared light.
Exactly. You link those to ground sensors, and the AI maps the entire farm down to the square inch.
Wow.
The algorithm processes that massive data load and provides highly, highly targeted directives. So instead of water everything, it tells the farmer, hey, this specific 10-square-foot patch in the northeast sector is showing early nitrogen deficiency.
Just that one patch.
Just that patch. Or, there is a localized aphid outbreak, but it's isolated to this specific row.
Which means the farmer only deploys resources exactly where they are needed.
Precisely.
I mean, the environmental implications of that are staggering if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You aren't blanketing 1,000 acres with pesticides if only a tiny, tiny fraction of the crop is actually under threat.
Right. And the author, Jones, notes that the ultimate goal here is to drastically reduce waste, conserve fresh water, and really limit chemical runoff, all while maintaining crop yields.
It's a win-win.
It is. She calls it learning, quote, to grow more wisely. The AI isn't just about maximizing profit for the farm, it's about mitigating the massive environmental footprint of modern agriculture.
Okay, I understand the efficiency argument. I really do. But here's where it gets really interesting. I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Because this kind of sounds like we were walking right into a trap.
How so?
Well, let's think about how we navigate cities today, right? 20 years ago, people actually knew their cities. They had internal maps in their heads.
Right, you had to memorize the streets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then GPS came along, and now we just blindly follow the little blue line on our phones. And if the app glitches, we're completely lost because that internal map has completely atrophied.
I see where you're going. You're talking about automation complacency.
Yes. Automation complacency. If I'm a farmer, right, and I've spent decades learning to read the sky, feel the soil, read the subtle cues of my land, and suddenly an algorithm is sending me push notifications telling me exactly when and exactly where to water.
You stop looking at the sky.
Exactly. Don't I eventually stop reading the land? We inevitably outsource our intuition to the machine. Aren't we just replacing the human green thumb with an algorithm?
It is a highly debated concern in agricultural tech for sure, and the author definitely does not shy away from it. But she includes a really crucial distinction in the text.
What's that?
She writes, AI does not remove the need for human knowledge. Because farming is not driving a car from point A to point B. It is deeply, deeply dynamic.
Okay, but if the AI is making all the micro decisions about watering and pests, what is the human actually doing?
The human is providing the vital context that the AI simply lacks.
Context.
Yeah. The algorithm can tell you that a patch of crops is nitrogen deficient. But the algorithm does not know your labor constraints for that week.
Oh, right. Like if half your crew is out sick.
Exactly. It doesn't factor in the sudden shift in market prices for that specific crop or, the complex, unwritten water sharing agreements you have with your neighboring farms.
That makes sense. The real world messy stuff.
Right. The AI acts as a hyper-sharp lens, but the farmer still has to look through that lens and make the complex economic and environmental calls. It reduces the biological guesswork, sure, but it doesn't eliminate the role of the human steward.
Okay. I'll concede that for a farm.
Fair enough.
But a farm is still a fundamentally human-controlled environment.
Right.
Like, we engineered the soil, we planted the seeds in these neat, predictable little rows.
It's very structured.
It's an environment practically built for data extraction. But let's scale this up one more time to the macro level. What happens when this AI encounters a wild, old-growth forest?
Totally different ballgame.
Right. That is an environment of total chaos by comparison. I mean, how does the technology navigate a deeply interconnected ecosystem where literally nothing is planted in a grid?
Well, we know that wild forests are incredibly complex living networks. The text points out that a single tree doesn't just exist in a vacuum.
No, of course not.
It anchors an entire web. You've got insects, birds, massive underground fungal networks, complex hydrological cycles.
Everything relies on everything else.
Right. But historically, tracking the health of that massive network has been an exercise in sheer estimation. I mean, you cannot stick a physical moisture probe in every single square inch of a continent.
So how does the AI map the invisible data exchanges of a chaotic wild forest then?
It relies on macro-level sensor fusion. We are talking about satellite imagery, widespread drone deployment, and LIDAR.
LIDAR?
Yeah, LIDAR uses lasers to actually penetrate the forest canopy and map the physical structure of the entire ecosystem in 3D.
Wow. And I read recently about how thermal imaging is used in this context too.
Oh, that's a perfect example. So, when trees in a wild forest experience severe drought stress, they close their stomata.
The pores on their leaves.
Exactly. They close them to conserve whatever water they have left. But when they stop releasing moisture, the physical temperature of the leaf actually rises.
Wait, really? So the trees are basically running a fever?
Conceptually, yes, exactly. And thermal imaging satellites in orbit pick up that temperature spike across thousands of square miles of forest.
That is mind-blowing.
It is. And then the AI processes that thermal data, combines it with historical weather patterns, and maps out exactly where a forest is tipping into critical drought stress.
Before a fire even starts.
Long before. And conservationists can also track the aggressive movement of invasive species just by analyzing subtle changes in the canopy texture over time. Or they can predict where a specific plant disease is likely to spread next based on wind patterns and topography.
So it allows for highly, highly targeted conservation. You aren't just guessing where a forest fire might break out. You know exactly which specific ridge is the driest.
Exactly. It moves conservation from a reactive scramble to a proactive strategy.
I see the utility. I really do.
Yeah.
But I have to raise a philosophical concern here on behalf of anyone listening to this who actually loves the outdoors.
Sure.
If we're looking at a majestic, ancient ecosystem entirely through the lens of thermal satellites, LIDAR maps, and predictive algorithms, aren't we just reducing the sublime beauty of nature to a cold spreadsheet of data points?
It's a risk.
Doesn't digitizing the forest inherently strip the majesty right out of it?
This raises an important question, and it's one the author explicitly warns against falling into. The text states very clearly that technology should never reduce the natural world to numbers alone.
Okay.
If you are just staring at a dashboard of metrics on a screen, you have completely missed the point of the technology. Jones argues that the most meaningful application of AI in nature is, and this is a direct quote, not control, but understanding.
I want to highlight that phrase, not control, but understanding. Because historically, right, whenever humanity develops a powerful new technology, our very first instinct is to use it to subjugate the environment.
Oh, absolutely. We engineer rivers to flow where we want them. We clear-cut forests to build cities.
Right.
But this technology actually flips that paradigm. We aren't using the data to subjugate the forest. We are using the AI to ask vastly better questions.
Like what?
We can ask the model, how exactly is climate change fundamentally altering the fungal networks in this specific valley? Or what unseen atmospheric conditions are actually allowing this particular endangered ecosystem to suddenly thrive against all the odds?
Oh, I see. It turns the technology into an instrument of stewardship rather than just an instrument of extraction.
Exactly. It moves us beyond just measuring resources to actually listening to the ecosystem's feedback loop.
Which logically brings us to the human element.
Mhm.
Because if the ultimate goal of translating the language of plants is stewardship, we really have to confront the reality of how we interact with screens today.
Yeah, the screen time issue.
Right. There's a very valid argument that the more digital tools we create, the more alienated we become from the physical, tactile world.
The text acknowledges this up front. It is a very real paradox. I mean, we've all been to a stunning national park and seen people walking through a literal cathedral of ancient trees.
Just completely glued to their phones.
Right. Entirely missing the visceral reality of the environment they're standing in.
But Jones argues that when AI is applied intentionally, it can actually reverse that alienation, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Instead of a screen acting as a barrier, it can act as a bridge. Think about those augmented reality plant identification apps.
Oh, they've become incredibly sophisticated lately.
I really have. You are on a hike and you see a strange wildflower. Normally, you might just glance at it and keep walking, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't know what it is.
But you pull out your phone, the computer vision scans the leaf structure, and instantly you know its native name, its history in the region, and which specific pollinators rely on it to survive.
It gives it a story.
Exactly. Or consider smart garden tools that use AI to give a total beginner the confidence to actually dig up their lawn and grow their own food.
Because the app guides them through the complexities of, like, soil pH and watering schedules.
Right. It fundamentally reframes the environment. The text makes a point that I think is so vital here. Plants are not passive background scenery.
Oh, they're not?
They are active, responsive parts of a living system that we depend on. And these digital tools bring that invisible activity right to the forefront of our attention.
So what does this all mean? Let me offer an analogy to tie this all together.
Always do.
Using AI in nature is a lot like hiring a local translator when you travel to a foreign country.
That.
Having a translator doesn't replace the physical experience of being there. The translator doesn't taste the street food for you. They don't feel the humidity or smell in the markets for you. You still have to do all the living.
Right. The app doesn't smell the damp earth of the forest for you.
Exactly. What the translator does is remove the friction of confusion. They help you understand what the locals are actually saying. They give you the cultural context, and they make the physical trip infinitely richer and more engaging than if you were just wandering around completely oblivious to the conversations happening around you.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that captures the author's final sentiment perfectly. AI cannot replace the visceral feeling of walking through a dense forest.
It just can't.
It cannot replace the physical labor and the satisfaction of getting dirt under your fingernails when you tend a garden. The technology doesn't absolve us of the human responsibility of caring for the earth.
Right.
What it does is foster curiosity. It serves as that universal translator. Because, as the source concludes, understanding plants means understanding the broader ecosystems, and understanding those ecosystems ultimately clarifies humanity's place within them.
It really is a massive paradigm shift in how we observe the world.
It is. Think about the journey we just took today. We started at the microscopic level, exploring how multispectral cameras detect the invisible drop in infrared light from a single stressed leaf.
Just one leaf.
Then we scaled up to massive commercial farms, using edge computing and continuous tracking to apply precision agriculture and drastically reduce our environmental footprint.
Saving water, saving chemicals.
Exactly. Then we zoomed out to orbit, using thermal satellites to map the fever of drought-stressed forests and proactively direct conservation. And finally, we brought it right back down to your own backyard, using AI as a tool to actually get off the couch, get your hands dirty, and interact with the physical world.
It is a masterclass in shifting from a reactive posture to a deeply proactive relationship with the natural world.
And this matters to you, listening right now, because we are entirely reliant on these invisible networks. The food on your table, the air in your lungs, the shade in your neighborhood, it's all dictated by this quiet, continuous conversation that plants are having with the environment.
We've been deaf to it for the entirety of human history.
But now that we have the technology to translate their language, we are vastly better equipped to care for the systems that sustain us every single day.
It all comes down to paying attention to the signals that were always there.
But before we let you go, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to mull over on your own. We've established today that AI is acting as this incredible translator, finally giving nature a loud, undeniable voice through millions of data points.
Right.
But what happens when we realize that the ecosystem is actively complaining about us?
Oh, wow.
If this technology successfully and precisely translates the language of plants and tells us exactly how our infrastructure, our emissions, and our consumption are stressing the natural world, are we truly prepared to listen?
That is a real question.
When that supercomputer in the compost bin starts sending us critical, undeniable alerts about the damage we're doing, will we actually change our behavior to fix it, or will we just mute the notifications?